Good afternoon, folks. So, I've struggled to set up a better setup for making this video on a Ford Ranger fuel filter change, but to no avail. I'm going to have to hold the camera for right now and kind of do step-by-step demonstrations here. So, here's where we're at. Okay, this video started out as a very simple maneuver, okay, changing the fuel line, or the fuel filter. Well, these handy-dandy colored clips, okay, this is a broken one. So, what I've come to find out in the long run, do not pry these off with a screwdriver. It looks like you want like they should be pried. Here's one that is still on and attached, and you can see my pry marks. Don't do this, okay? Stop right where you're at. Resist the urge to pry with a screwdriver. These little suckers, you just push them in. I thought it was too good to be true, but it's true. So, this is the old fuel filter. I'll get to replacing the other connector here in a moment that I've ruined. So, you just simply press in. I'm doing this one-handed because I have to. Okay, you just push in and you pull off. I mean, that's not even a setup. I can't even believe Ford made something so nice. Okay, this one is the green one, okay? You can kind of see it there, green, okay? So it's hard to turn it all the way around. Again, I have to do this one-handed. So, and you know, when you're pushing these in, so kind of like any other fuel line quick connect that you're going to do, you want to push in on the connector towards the, like push that way, okay, on the clip, like towards the fuel filter. So push in to kind of relieve some of the stress and pressure on the little clip you're releasing. Push in, push the tab in, and pull. And of course, it's going to be difficult because I'm making the video now. Okay. Okay, so I removed it, okay? You may not have seen it happen, but you were here the whole time. So that's off, okay? So now for the other side, for the broken clip I ruined, okay? This is the end of that connector, okay? That's where that broken clip that I pried, which I should have pushed on, came out of, okay? So then I was left with the predicament, well crap, I need something to fit in there. You cannot buy replacement orange clips or green clips for these, okay? So I went down to my local O'Reilly's. After looking on the internet, it seemed like they had the best fuel part selection, you know, for clips and such. So what they did, they sold me a little kit, and it comes with a new fuel line connector. Okay, it's the same size. I took my fuel filter, the new one, down there so I could size it up, make sure it's going to be the right clip that fits. Now these ones come with handy dandy little pry out. Actually, I don't even really know how these ones come out. They're kind of a pry out also, but at least if you break these, they sell packs of 6 at O'Reilly's for about $5. Okay, so these little clippy things here, the connectors, okay? So at least if you pry those suckers off and break them, there is a nicer silver lining, okay? So now, since I have the situation I have, you have more than enough hose length on this new one, okay? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut. I've already cut that old connector piece off right there. And we're going to have to splice this new one into that line. Okay, so all one-handedly, here's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to have to cut the new line, okay? So you're going to want to measure that up and see, you know, kind of the length that you're going to need. So this is the connector. This side will go to your existing fuel line, and this side here will go to the new connector piece, okay? Now, definitely follow the instructions when you replace this fuel connector line, when you splice it in, because what you're going to end up doing, once you cut your hoses to the right sizes and lengths, you're going to actually take this hose at the end, so I'll trim it and I'll show when I get to that point. You're going to soak this hose in hot water for 10 minutes to get it soft. And by soaking it in the hot water, and this is included in the instructions on the package, you're going to be able to push this into the hose much better, and you'll have a nice seal on it like this one has. Of course, this one was factory done, but still, that's what the instructions say, and so you're going to have a nice seal on it, though. And you'll have to do that for this one over here. So the other one, this one, the first half, I'm going to take inside and do it. The second half, to do this hot water one that's on the vehicle, I'm going to just probably bring a cup of hot water out like I'm making a cup of tea minus the tea bag, and, you know, put it in there. So that's what I'm going to do. You know, measure it up, do what you got to do to get those sizes right. So I would give yourself probably a little bit extra length, you know, so you're not cutting yourself short on this connector when you put these pieces together. Of course, you've got some leeway with the other hoses you've got back here, but if you're like mine, you don't have a lot of leeway as far as extra space going front and backward. So make sure you allow for some space. So it's better to have too much than too little. Okay, so again, remember, push these suckers in. Tell your friends, save yourself some money and some freaking aggravation. Otherwise, you'll be supporting your local O'Reilly shop. And that little piece I got here, it's my damn tripod that doesn't work for this kind of thing. This little thing for the brass connector, this thing, the hose, and this, $25. But dealer or any other method having them do it. So to be continued. All right, folks. So I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of what I'm going to do before I cut this. This is going to give you some length here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, you know, you've got this to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably go ahead and, you know, you only need it up to there, but I'm going to give myself some wiggle room. So I'm going to bump it back a little. And remember, the other hose is going to come from right here down. So that's going to be on the vehicle line. This is right here. So you essentially are going to want to cut about right here, you know. So keep that in mind. Sorry, you should be using a utility knife, but otherwise, if you've got a pocket knife that's sharp, use that too. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and cut this, okay, when I cut that. And I'll put this part here in hot water, which I'm heating. What you hear in the background is beeping. That is my microwave of hot water. So that's what we'll soak, and I'll go ahead and videotape that when I get to the inserting this into the hose that's soaked in hot water. For what it's worth, this is the piece of equipment. Well, sorry, I don't want to do that. This is the piece of equipment I purchased at O'Reilly's. Dorman is a good brand in these fuel line clips and such. I found them online. Again, O'Reilly's carries these though. If you have them in your area, I don't get any perks from recommending them. That's just who I've used, and they're quite helpful. So these are the little plastic clips that go inside these the new little whatever attachments. So and if you want to buy new ones, like I've already broken one of these before, just trying to get it off that one. So you can get a package of these, 6 of them. There's only a few, well, there's less than 6 in there, but that doesn't matter. 6 of these things, 3 of the black, 3 of the white, for $5. You know, you can't beat it. That's so much easier than having to buy a $25 fuel line like I'm having to do. So learn from my mistakes, save your money, buy plastic clips. To be continued. Okay, so I ended up using a utility knife after all. Here's what I've gone ahead and done with my handy dandy setup. I took my my piece of rubber hose with the attachment on the end, put it in a pair of pliers just to hold it there in my cup of hot water. So I heated the water for about 1.5 minutes. It's one of those high-powered microwaves, so it's you know, whoo, it's hot. Okay, so it does say hot water. It doesn't say boiling, so I'd say that's hot. And I'll let it sit there. Given how hot it is, you know, I'll probably check it in about 5 minutes to see how flexible it is. You know, just for demonstration purposes. Yeah, it's been in there about 1 minute. It's still very firm. So I'm thinking it's probably going to need the full 10 minutes. That's good though. That means it's good sturdy hose, and you want good sturdy hose for your fuel line. So, so that's that. And I'll show you the finished product of the piece inserted into that in a moment. Okay, folks. So good news and bad news. I got this piece on, so I'm halfway there. However, I had to let that piece of plastic sit in hot water for about 20-25 minutes, okay? And even with that, it took quite a bit of pressure and pushing against this stone countertop, and I'm fairly strong, to insert that piece into the coupler. So reading online, consulting other fellow YouTube videos, people were using a heat gun, one of those like blow dryer things, but for the shop purpose. Well, I need to attach this to the line that's underneath my truck. Another guy said that he had soaked the line in boiling water for 15 minutes. I do not have a heat gun, nor do I really want to use a heat gun, even if I had one down by a fuel line, since they get hot. And I'm not trying to catch on fire. So I'm going to go outside with a very optimistic attitude and a cup of boiling water and one of those thermal coffee cups. And we're going to just freaking hope for the best. So cross your fingers. Okay, folks, be prepared for a battle when you put this thing together. How I did it, I don't know. Hot water and scalding myself underneath the truck. I ended up with too much tubing because I needed something to bend down and put into hot water. I brought a thermos of hot water out here and bent that hose into it so I could get it to fit. So, everything's on and it works. Remember to press. Press, don't pry. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention. So since I didn't cut this hose, let's see, can you see it? Since I wasn't able to cut this original hose so it could fit properly under here, and when I was pushing on the hose to connect it, also I'd suggest wearing gloves, it kind of bent a little, but it's not actually kinked over here. I know you can't see it, but it's there. So, you know, I'm going to see what happens here. I will update this video comments if I end up having to take it to a mechanic for any additional issues at all, because if anything else goes wrong, it will go to a trained professional. I'm over this fuel filter and that fuel line. But since it was a little long, what I did, since all these fuel lines back here were rubber, I pushed them back. So it's all good. I just want to show you all it's running and there's no gas leaking. It's great. And I flipped that bracket around so it could hold the fuel filter. So if I can do it, you can do it. And you can survive it better than me.